Hi, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk, a series where we explore various topics related to faith and everyday life. In this episode, we're going to talk about how to balance life, career, and church. How do you juggle multiple roles and responsibilities without losing your focus and joy? How do you find harmony and peace in the midst of chaos and stress? How do you align your personal and professional goals with God's will for your life? These are some of the questions that we are going to discuss with our guests today. They are three people who have different backgrounds and experiences, but share a common passion for living a balanced and fulfilling life. Let's meet them and hear what they have to say. So for today, we have another version of Let's Talk. We have with us Brother Jamal Newton. We have Sister Shamel Grant and myself, of course, Brother Daniel Collins. We're going to get started with a word of prayer. And I'm going to ask Brother Jamal, would you open this session in a word of prayer, please?
Most definitely. Right. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us here today for this wonderful opportunity to share our experiences, share the journey of life with each other. We thank you again for all that you've done for us, to providing such a beautiful opportunity. Anthony, bless that you be in the midst of this recording today. And may we have a great time with you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. Sister Shamel, we start with you.
Hi, my name is Shamel Grant. I am a mother, I am a wife, and also a leader.
Right. Thanks, Sister Shamel. Brother Jamal Newton, could you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Jamal Newton. I am a son, husband, brother, father, and a leader.
All right. Thank you, Brother Jamal. My name is Daniel Collins. I serve at one of our local churches here as an associate pastor. Of course, I am many of the things that Brother Jamal mentioned as well. Son, father, husband, brother, uncle, nephew, not grandfather, or something along those lines. And today we're going to be speaking about balance in life, career, church, and all those things. And listening to what you all introduce yourselves as, I could imagine you have a juggling act going on concerning balance. We're going to start with the first question, and we're going to ask, what does balance mean to you? Brother Jamal, would you take that first one?
Balance. When I hear the word balance, to me, stability comes to mind. For example, if we have to use the word balance in our daily lives, or as being a husband, for example, it means constant communication. We communicate almost daily on what is going to be taking part with the family throughout the day. So we try our best to balance our times to make sure that everyone in the family of our household, that their needs are being met.
Interesting. Thank you. Sister Shamel, let me hear from you. When you hear the word balance, what comes to mind?
When I think of balance, I think of priorities. What needs to go first, what needs to go second, what needs to go third, just go down the list. As what Jamal mentioned, also balance includes a lot of communication. Because if communication is not there, then the scale tips one way or the other, and then something doesn't get done or something is missed out. So I think balance has a lot to do with priorities. When I think of my family life, it's the same thing. I think of, okay, this is the day. This is what needs to get done for the day. What else do we need to add or subtract in to make sure that the day runs smoothly? And so that's where the balance comes in.
All right. Thank you. Balance, I find it a strange and a tricky word. I think the last time I was in balance, I was riding a bike. And besides riding a bike and probably walking a tightrope, I don't think there's much balance in life. And sometimes we use these terms, and when we stop and we think about them, they may seem impossible to achieve, because if everything is in balance, you spend as much time at work, not at work. You spend as much time with your family, is not with your family. And it's kind of weird. What I try to focus on is having a good mixture.
Yeah.
You can't have the same amount of water as the same amount of lemon juice, as the same amount
of sugar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're in trouble.
Yeah.
You need to have that right mixture. And sometimes it's a little more lemon juice and a little less sugar. Sometimes it's no sugar because you need to leave the sugar alone. It appears like there are times when we need to have different mixtures based on the time. For example, just a quick example, let me move on. If a child is sick at home, that child would get a lot more attention from everybody in the home.
Yes.
Our balance, mixture needs to change at that point because that child needs the attention. What may be neglected is date night. When I hear the word balance, in my mind, I try to think about mixture and trying to figure out what makes the best mix. Yeah?
With balance, I don't think of the scale like this either. To me, something has to be higher than the other in order for things to get done throughout. That's also the weirdness for me with balance. I mean, it's not as the scale. It's not half equal. Something has to be higher up in order for the process to be completed throughout the day, throughout the week, the month, the years.
Yep, absolutely. Jamal, you want to add anything to that?
Oh, like Sister Shamal said, you always have to keep the scale as much as possible balanced. In reality, we know how challenging that can be on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Now, thinking about some of the things that you all have to deal with, and so many different things, how do you figure out what's most important, what gets your attention, what gets less of your attention? How do you go about doing that?
For me, I write a lot. I've come to notice over the years, writing out what needs to be done. And then from there, I can tell myself, okay, this needs to be done first, that needs to be done first. With my writing, I have two sets of writing. I write for school and I write for home. And then, of course, I have my section for church. All of the tasks that I need to get completed, I have them listed for the three different major areas that I have for myself. And so once I write out everything, then I know, okay, this is the top priority for this segment of my life. This is the next top priority for home. This is the next top priority. And I need to get something done for my other areas in my roles of responsibility.
So I assume these are not daily to-do lists. This is just a list of things that need to be done.
Exactly.
In a certain order. Correct?
In a certain order. And then I always make sure I do it based on if there's a time frame that it needs to be completed. Like, for example, going to pay bills. If I know that the deadline to pay something, then I make sure that gets top priority on the home list. For school, I have a deadline for orders to be in, for example, that needs to go above me going to go on observation in the classroom, for example. So there's always paying attention to if there's a deadline attached to that task, yes or no. And then I tend to look at things, okay, when it comes to growth too as well, because that's also very important for me when I look at where I'm at, where am I growing in the different areas that I'm responsible for, and what can I do differently to see better results. So that's also part of the list.
Yeah, correct. Makes
what areas needs growth, yes.
What I think helped me in the past, and I don't do it anymore, I need to get back to it, is to, of course, write notes for the next, let's say for the month, what needs to be done for the month, or what you would like to have done for the month, breaking it down per week, then breaking it down per day, and the night before, reviewing that the night before, so you go to sleep with that on your mind.
Yes.
Next day, you just get up and do it. And what I've tried to do is not to have too much of a to-do list daily, because you're never going to get all done.
True.
What I've been doing lately is trying to figure out what one thing I have to do today. If it's not done today, there's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
Make sure that gets done. And just go along the line. Of course, they'll have little bits and pieces that pop in, go down the line. But I do need to get back to looking out a little further, because if I don't look out a little further, some things that need to be started now to help further down the line wouldn't get. And some things need somewhat of a runway for you to get. Yeah, so that's how I've dealt with it. That's also how I'm dealing with it. Jamal, let me hear from you. How do you decide what matters most in your life? And how do you allocate your time and energy to those things?
Similar to you guys, I would always create a to-do list. What I've noticed in the past, sometimes I used to just jot notes down all over the place and never in one location where I could get back to it. I started doing it now in my phone, which helps a lot.
Yeah.
In regards to a to-do list. As you mentioned, sometimes your to-do list for that one day can be 20 things that you need to have done. And if I look at my schedule with work and getting those things done, I've learned now to not beat up myself too much. And if I get 6 to 7 of those things done, that's fine. The rest I'll do on another day.
Sure.
Because being realistic, you can't get everything done. And then you still have the normal functions of life, your family, work, church, to still add to your daily routine. I've done the taking notes. I misplaced so many notepads that I found years after. But by
Yeah.
keeping it in my phone now, it helps me a whole lot much more. And just like you said, brother, I put them down on a weekly calendar. What needs to be done on a daily basis? And if it doesn't get done, I either shift it to a next day or shift it to
Yeah.
the next week.
Yeah.
And try to keep it the stress, because that does bring a lot of stress to you if you don't
Yeah.
feel you're meeting those deadlines throughout the day.
Nice. Thank you. Now, of course, there are hurdles and obstacles in us trying to achieve what some people call balance, what I call having the right mix and so forth. What are some of those hurdles or obstacles that you encounter when juggling home, work, church, marriage, life, and all those type of things?
One word, time.
Time. Same thing here.
One word, time. There's never enough time. If you look at it on paper, you won't have enough time. So throughout the day, you need to nip and cut here and there. And that's where also your priorities come into play. Of course, you pray. My prayer life is first. My family comes second. And as demanding as my job is at times, you would believe that is all my life. But I've learned now how to separate myself from it and then invest more time in the areas where I feel is priority.
Understood. I got a question though, because you mentioned time. And of course, we can't have more time. It's only 24 hours. And I was reading an article some time ago and it says the days are getting shorter, actually less than 24 hours. I know how to
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I would assume that when time is of the essence, we learn to what the Bible called redeem the time. We learn to waste less of the
That's
time.
time.
What are some of the things that you see yourself do that make you much more efficient? What used to take you probably 2 hours to do, an hour to do, 30 minutes to do, you're much more efficient at it now. It's a two-part question. Or what are some of the things that you realize, or areas that you realize that I think I'm wasting time here, and you cut it out? Maybe the second part of that question is easier to answer, but
Well, I love to help people. I love to help. And in the past, I've noticed I would dedicate a lot of my time into children and their families and was really neglecting my own. At some time, I would spend so much time with other people's kids that one day my son said to me, "But you don't spend time with me," and made me sit back, and I had to reflect on how I spend my time, because I want to be there as much as possible for my kids. And they know that the job that me and my wife work, it requires us to be a lot with other people. We decided that there's a cutoff time. For instance, if we're answering our phones at home, pertaining to work, no. Especially when we're doing things together with our families, we try to just dedicate all of that time towards bonding and building of the importance of the values, then the values of life with our kids. So that was one of the areas that I really had to sit back, reflect, and cut off how much more time I give to others and the less that I give the time to my own family.
But when you do that, don't you feel guilty sometimes?
Used to. I
Used to.
definitely used to. Yes, I used to. But then I saw the benefits of, especially with my son. I have 4 kids. I have 3 daughters and I have 1 son. And with my 1 son, we connect much more when it's me and him alone, and I can get to talk to him. You know, with my daughters, we talk, we interact, but with my son, I've noticed that with him, I needed to spend more time with him, you know, so I feel that is important. And I prayed a lot about it, and it keeps coming back to me that I need to invest more in my family.
Interesting. Sister Shamel, let me hear in that time issue, how you deal with it, efficiency, not wasting time, all those things.
For me, I've learned to say no. I had a hard time saying no to as well. No or not now. I have a policy at work, an open door policy, but I've come to realize having an open door still means you need to know when to drop what's on the desk and pay attention. So when it comes to if an individual is coming in with a personal issue or something from the work related that's bothering them, we stop to deal with that. Whereas if you just come to burn some time that you have free, okay, I don't have the time free now to do that with you. So let's get back to priority here. I've also felt the same way in the sense of I give so much time for work and then I'm too tired when I get home or frustrated. And then what I couldn't let out at work, I'm going to let out at home. And I realize, but that's not good either. And as Brother Jamal says, spending time with your children, realizing, especially for me, my children, I feel like getting older and I get that mommy guilt. Hey, I'm missing time with them than what I did when they were much younger, or I feel like I'm not spending enough time. So I try to go back to the drawing board and decide, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that. And then just let go. I'm a neat freak. I love to see everything in place, things clean. And yeah, my offspring just don't have that. My son has it more than my daughter, to be honest. But I'm learning to just let it go. When I say A, I want it done on A time, not on B time. But I realize that's not working. And in reading and doing other research, you realize all of folks tell you the same thing. Just enjoy now. The house ain't as clean as you want it to be. They're saying get done, just it's okay. The world is not gonna end, So for me, I'm learning to say no, not yet, and just let it go. Let it go and everything will flow eventually. And I tend to have to pray a lot to help me with that because it's hard getting rid of that mentality. Learning more and more, time is short. We have control of some things, not everything. And at the end of the day, I need to be able to say, hey, I'm satisfied with the time I spent constructively, to that extent.
Yeah. Thank you. Interesting. And I could attest for what you say as well. Some things just ain't gonna get done.
Yeah.
Just ain't gonna get done. I mean, nobody getting sick because of it. Nobody dying.
Exactly.
Let's just move on. Let's just move on.
As Brother Jamal said, with that same list, if I say something needs to be done on Monday and I catch myself Wednesday, it didn't get finished. Okay, no problem. Move it to Thursday. Didn't get done Thursday. Okay, next week, Monday again. Because at the end of the day, I have to be able to be satisfied with myself, knowing that I did what I could. Life lately has shown me that a lot of the things that we fuss and fret over, at the end of the day, was it really necessary to exert all that energy? Was it really worth it? Allow yourself to be frustrated and not accomplish, seeing that so many people are experiencing so many things. I mean, death and all the different challenges, as you said, come along in our daily lives. And you ask yourself, was it worth it? There's no need to go down that direction. So just enjoy what you can now, focus on what you can do now, be flexible as much as you can, but at the same time, tell yourself, cut off time.
Yep. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
The flexible part stands out to me because I remember some years ago, and this forced me to think and rethink. Some years ago, my daughter was in play school, and it was the day that Santa would come, and she was afraid of Santa. She's very outspoken. She'd tell you in nice English what she thinks. When she's done with you, you feel like, bye. I knew it.
Exactly.
So he said, Daddy, Santa was here. I was afraid of Santa. I was looking for you. And you wasn't there. That made me feel so bad. I was like, this opportunity to just be there when she's afraid of Santa. Be there for her.
To
and I started thinking, like, you know what? I need some more flexibility when it comes to work, where I could pop out and be there, where my day probably could be shorter. If I don't pop out, I could do it before, I could do it after. And those type of things. So after that, I consciously thought of, you know what? I'm going to do things in a way that I have more time and have more flexibility. Next time Santa comes, Santa would meet me there. And of course, it is also a sacrifice because many jobs that you have flexibility and shorter hours, you get paid less. But I had to figure out what I wanted. So I've been consciously making that effort. Just, you know what? I'm going to choose flexibility work-wise because it's necessary. Picking up the children, being there for them, they have something unusual to do, you're available and those type of things. I have to be there for that. Because, I mean, they'll only be 4 and 5 once. They'll only be 13 once.
Exactly.
Once. And if you miss certain things, you miss certain things. And that's what has come to my mind. And when it comes to time, like you, Brother Jamal, I wish the day was longer, but it didn't get longer. And me staying up at 5 o'clock and then waking up 5 o'clock the next day ain't helping either. I've forced myself to become efficient in different ways. I mean, there are many different tools out there that could take tasks that used to take half an hour. It could be brought down to 5 minutes. And I forced myself to find these things, to find out about these things, and to use these things. So, I mean, thank you very much for the sharing you've done in this part as well. It is important. We need to be able to get over these hurdles because some things just won't change. And we would need to change. Now, Brother Jamal, I heard you mention your prayer life, and that was being most important. And this question is talking about carving out space for God in your hectic schedule. How does that go? I'll start with you, Sister Sharmel, and then we'll come back to Brother Jamal.
For me, the last few years, it has changed a lot. What I noticed, I was in more of a rhythm. This needs to be done, that needs to be done. And it's as if it's just going on a choo-choo train, as the little children like to say. So I realized, well, wait, yes, I'm getting up. I'm going to say my prayers. I'm going to do my devotion, go about the day, finish up everything. And then I tell God, okay, before I go to bed, I'm going to give you this amount of time. But then I catch myself, I'm dozing off, end up watching something on TV, on the phone. And then I said, this not enough. I think God deserves much more than this. And so I specifically tell myself when I get home now, I ask the children, well, when both of them were more home with me, give me a half an hour. So that half an hour actually is to unwind. And then in that same time, I give God that extra time to just pray and focus on some specific things that I want to talk to him about. So I often try to do that. And it's not every day, but I make sure within that half an hour after I get home from work, no disturbance from anybody, no more phone calls. For that time, let me just focus on unwinding and just bellowing out to God, basically. Giving him his praise and his worthiness, but at the same time, letting him know how my day went and what I need help with again for tomorrow, because I would realize certain issues that I encountered that I don't think I handled well, or I need more wisdom how to do differently to make it better. So generally, that's when I spend my time and asking God for guidance and wisdom.
All right. But Jamal, let me hear from you. How you going out that time?
I wish my wife was here, but I will tell you guys, I'll be very honest with you. That was one of the areas that I used to struggle with. I would try and do it every morning. That wasn't working for me. Mm-hmm. My wife she's more of a morning person. I'm not a morning person. So it takes that time for me to really put that effort in the morning. She gets up in the morning and she does her devotions. She's great in the morning, and then she opens up the whole house. But she's very much a morning person. I'm not. So what I've learned to do is invest time to basically put it together while I'm by myself. So mostly, for instance, if in the morning time, once I drop the kids off, I will go into my office and I would just lock the door. And I would take at least maybe 45 minutes for myself, praying, doing my devotions and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then also what I've learned to do is invest a little time into myself. I love walking. I love walking alone. And while I'm walking, I walk, I listen to my music, I speak to God, I pray. Mm-hmm. And I'd just be so relieved after that experience, after a long day. Mm-hmm. I just put that time in. God bless my wife. I have a very understanding wife. And I told her, babe, say, Rita, this is good for me. When I'm finished work, I just take my time and I put my headphones in and I go walking. And I walk on a path where there's not much people. And it's just me and God. I talk, I sing, I cry out. I just do what I need to do for myself. And when I go back home, I could pour more into my family, you know? So to say every day it's consistently the same time, no. There are different times in the day. Once I get some time for myself, I say, hey, let me connect to God. So that's how my prayer life goes. Every day is a different time frame, but I make sure I get it in.
Well, it's a good thing I'm hearing this, because I'm getting from y'all and learning from y'all. That carving out time hasn't been one of my strongest areas at all. Mm-hmm. And of course, I used to do devotions, and I was like, you know what? I ain't spending enough time with family devotions. And I realized the stuff that I get in devotions is good for everybody. Mm-hmm. You know what? Instead of me having devotions and figuring out family devotions, let's make my devotions everybody's devotions. We just get up early, we have the devotions. And it's kind of weird. It's not me preparing something and reading the scripture and expounding it to the others. It's like somebody else giving a lesson. And we all sitting there, taking notes, and discussing the notes afterwards and so forth. And sometimes I would watch them and they would say, but this one here with one eye open, literally with one eye open, the next one they're laying down. I remind me ever so often.
Yes.
And I'm saying to myself, we all ain't getting nothing from this. And then one day, they're reciting to me all that they heard in devotion. I'm like, but how you know that your eye was closed, one of them was closed, you believe that? And they say, Daddy, you expect us to be fully awake early in the morning? We listen, we paying attention, but we just sleeping. So what I got from that is, I mean, just bring them in. I just had to bring them into what I was doing. They would learn from it as well. And it's just like a shower. Just get wet. You get wet over here. Over there, you get wet as well. Over there, you get wet as well. And what else works for me, I find, because at church, I work on the devotions. So the second person to hear the devotions is me. Pastor would produce them. He would record them. I would get them and I would work on them. And I've noticed for me, I get more from the devotions than at church. Because at church, once I'm in the building, I'm working. It doesn't matter if it's a Saturday night or Tuesday morning. Once I'm in the building, I'm working. So I'm not sitting and listening to the message. I'm not taking notes. I'm not trying to figure out how it could work for me. That's not happening during church time. But during the devotions, I have to pay so much attention. Now I have to read every word because we send out the words as well. Listen to all the words. So I'm getting it. I'm like, okay, that's how it goes. So even in work, and I'm so grateful for that, even in the work I do, I get that chance to get from God. When it comes time to carving out the time for me and God alone, you all are much better ahead than me in that area. And that's something I need to pick up on and to add to as well. But on the other hand, these are some areas where I have been able to take what I've been doing and working for me and just have the family be a part of that and benefit from that as well. So, I mean, we are learning from each other. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing in these areas as well.
But remember, it's not an everyday thing that we're still struggling with. Well, I'm still here for me. I still struggle with it, but I've told myself I need to make that conscious effort because I realize is that we make the time that we need for everything else. We make sure this, make sure that. So that time with God, I tell myself I need it because I realize the high demand my job has mentally, it's very draining. So me being able to unwind in that time and also just pour out to God how I'm feeling also is very helpful in that aspect because it becomes really overwhelming at times coming from work and at home too as well, being the mom and helping to make sure that everything runs a certain way.
Thank you for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it and learned something from it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notified when we upload new videos. We'd love to hear from you. So please leave a comment below and let us know what you think about this topic. What are some of the challenges and strategies that you face and use to balance your life, career, and church? How do you seek God's guidance and direction in finding balance? What are some of the benefits and tips that you can share with others who are struggling with balance? Let us know in the comment section. And remember, balance is not a destination, but a journey. So keep on seeking God's will and trusting His plan for your life. God bless you and see you in the next episode of Let's Talk.